Hello, you are watching N24 TV and I am your presenter Magdalene Njie. In the news this week, first the headlines. Gambians express their opinion regarding the traffic congestion. Elsewhere, Egypt used French military support to kill civilians in sports. Crowd trouble threatens future of French footballers. And on the global front, Hamas gunman kills one Israel, injures 4 others in Jerusalem attack. Thanks for joining us. Now the news in detail. On Sunday, N24 TV left the confines of our comfortable studio and took to the streets to talk to people on the constant traffic jam in the country. A lot of them expressed the challenge they face on a daily basis, and this is what they had to say about the situation. More on this report.
Traffic congestion or jam has become a big problem in the Gambia, paving the way for people to point fingers at various stakeholders such as road construction, physical planning department and the government. Because people are of the view that the roads are very small. Due to this, commuters have increased fare indirectly as people are to pay more than the initial to get to their destinations.
The traffic jam has been a problem and it has affected me in a great way. When I close from here, we close at 6:30, and then when we move to cooperative, we stand for like 30 to 45 minutes, close to an hour sometimes even, before having a transport which will drop us at Latikunda before proceeding to Lamin. Sometimes even we stand there for the longest time without having a transport. We'll have to trek up to Latikunda or Westfield before having a vehicle to take us to Lamin. That stress alone is so huge on us. When we go home, like we totally exhausted, and all that we can do is eat, go to bed, and then prepare for tomorrow, and then the next day you have to come back to work. So it is so stressful on us, and also very stressful on the students. Being a teacher too, I am so concerned about the students that I teach. You see students struggling for vehicles. You see them with the heavy traffic, like some students live far away, and all those having them to go through all that stress, reaching home late, and then having to prepare to come back home the next day to school is so hectic on them.
It affects us in a lot of ways. And also the time that we arrive at school, and also the amount of money that we pay also. If you look at the time that you will arrive, most of the time you will arrive late. And also if you go to the main roads also, the problem is taxi drivers also will charge you more than what they were supposed to charge you even. Like if you're going to Latikunda, you have to pay now 2 fares. From Westfield, you have to pay up to Talending Market, and from Talending Market, you will have to pay to get to Latikunda, just because maybe of the traffic jam. Build more road or feeder roads also that join different towns here. Because if you are from Latikunda, you want to go to Sukuta or you want to go to Brusubi, you have to go all the way around to Serekunda to go to Sukuta. If you had a main road that would connect, let's say, Sukuta to Latikunda, I think that would have been a good one.
It is a big problem because it affects the movement of the drivers, not only the drivers but also other road users. You know, looking at the traffic congestion, it's making life very difficult for the users. It affects my earnings because the time you spend in traffic solely will affect your earning, because if you are like a businessman and then you are supposed to go for a business transaction and then it consumes a lot of your time in the traffic, obviously it might affect your earning. Yeah, most especially the businessmen. And even other people that are working in other sectors like the civil servants also, like late coming in most of these sectors, there are penalties attached to it, like deduction of salary. Yeah, so it affects the earning of the people working in other sectors. Like as this saying goes, proper planning prevents poor performance. Because if planning was done properly, we wouldn't have been facing this kind of a problem regarding the traffic.
They urge the government to intervene in any way possible as passengers are being stripped off. They pleaded to the government to construct as many roads as possible. Reporting for N24 TV, Magdalene Njie.
As elections draw nearer and eligible voters waiting to cast their votes, what are people in Banjul expecting in this space? More in this report.
The political atmosphere in the Gambia is currently in the crossroads. People from diverse walks of life are once again out in their party colours to decide again. The decision is yet to be made as the presidential elections is just at our doorsteps. Campaigns are at the pinnacle as the quest for regime change or regime continuation unfolds. As voters await the voting day and who they will vote for, with 6 presidential candidates vying for the top seat, it will be the first time former President Njie won't be in the ballot box in years. The waiting for the day continues for many eligible voters, but what are they expecting in this election? August Bendy, who is a teacher, said people should vote for Barrow.
Election, I think I have a lot to say, but let me say a few. I think we need to maintain Barrow, because change of governments will bring change of system, and new people coming to office will think of their pocket first. To feed it first, for think of the population. So Barrow, once after 5 years, I think if he will do something, I think he has gotten enough that he can develop this country. And we can see he has started a lot of development in this country. And his development is not limited to his supporters alone, but his development is extended even to those who don't even support him. His development do not go on the side that's in for him, but even those that are against him. So I am 100% in for Barrow.
Pascal Sen is a student and expect a peaceful election.
What we want to see is development, because you see this country is not going forward. We are seeing development is not going since the change of government. So what we want is development, because we have few problems that our previous government we are not looking into. So we want that this year when we vote for change, we want to see development, that they will follow our interests.
The political landscape of the Gambia is widely criticized by many as they believe is based on tribalism. But will the system be smooth, as many expect it to be smooth? Mustafa Doumbouya, a student of the University of the Gambia, outlined more on that.
Concerning this election, what we see is it's going to be very tense as the campaign unfolds since last week. What we understand from range of speakers from different parties, we understand that most of the parties, instead of selling their agenda, instead of selling their policies and programs, they embark on using hate speeches against each other. They also embark on how would I call it in this way? They also embark on making people bringing conflict into politics, which is really instead of bringing divergent view, they turn the right policies of getting people into politics, bringing in conflict, bringing in social, bringing in tribal issues into politics. This is what we see. But however, I am very much optimistic that this election is going to be a turning point for the Gambia, because we have learned a lot during the 5 years, or for the last 5 years.
The Independent Electoral Commission, which is the body responsible for electoral processes, has vetted 25 presidential aspirants and come up with only 6 qualified candidates for the December 4th presidential election. But some of the disqualified aspirants took the matter to court. Despite the disqualifications, endorsements, appeals, and candidates backing off the December 4th presidential election, with the election seemingly taking shape and candidates confirmed, the question now to be answered is who will be the winner. Eligible voters to decide, and IEC to do the announcing in about 9 days' time. Reporting for N24 News, Magdalene Njie.
From home, we now sweep our attention on the continental front. Egypt has used intelligence supplied by the French military to target and kill civilians suspected of smuggling, according to a report by investigative website disclosed based on leaked documents.
French opposition deputies immediately called for a parliamentary committee to be set up to investigate the claims, while Defense Minister Florence Pagny ordered her own investigation following the publication of the report on Sunday. Surely, the name of the mission between the two countries was designed to provide intelligence on security threats along Egypt's western border with Libya. This clause said, in principle, the mission consisted of searching the western desert to find possible terrorist threat coming from Libya using a light aircraft designed for surveillance reconnaissance, it said. But quickly, the French members of the team understand the intelligence supplied are used to kill civilians suspected of carrying contraband. The website wrote, French military staff regularly notify superiors of the information. It added, this clause based its report on hundreds of classified documents on the operation that were leaked to it. According to those documents, the French military was implicated in at least 19 air attacks against civilians between 2016 and 2018.
In sports, repeated crowd trouble at Ligue 1 putting the survival of French football at stake, says Sports Minister Roxana Maracineanu.
Sunday's game between Lyon and Marseille was abandoned after Dimitri Payet was hit by a bottle thrown from the stands 5 minutes into the game. Payet has already been struck with a bottle during a match this season. This season, the league has been marred by crowd violence, missile throwing, and pitch invasions. They have to come to an agreement. This kind of problem is for the league to solve, Maracineanu told France Info Radio. Everyone must understand that it is the survival of French soccer that's at stake. France's sports and interior ministries will meet over the issue on Tuesday. Sunday's game was halted for more than 2 hours before officially being called off. It is a world where millions of euros are at stake, added Maracineanu. We can't allow that a broadcaster who has bought rights must keep the conversation moving for more than an hour, like they did when we don't know if the match is going to continue.
And on the global front, a 26-year-old Israeli man has died after a Hamas gunman carried out a shooting attack in Jerusalem's Old City.
The dead man has been named as Eliyahu David K., a recent immigrant from South Africa who worked as a guide at the Western Wall. Authorities corrected the victim's age that they had earlier reported. 4 other people, among them a man whose condition was described as serious, were injured in the incident, which happened on Sunday morning near the Chain Gate entrance to Al-Aqsa Mosque compound, also known as the Temple Mount. The assailant, who used an improvised automatic weapon commonly known as a Kalo, police say, was shot dead by police officers on the scene. Israel's public Security Minister Omar Bar-Lev said the gunman was from the neighborhood of Shuafat in East Jerusalem and a member of the political wing of Hamas. Hamas issued a statement identifying the attacker as Fadi Abu Qaidam, calling him a heroic martyr and describing him as a local leader of the movement. It said the attack was a response to the attempts to desecrate Al-Aqsa Mosque. Israel's Prime Minister Naftali Bennett told government ministers he was praying for the recovery of wounded and had instructed security forces to prepare for possible copycat attacks.
That brings us to the conclusion of this news bulletin. I was your presenter, Mary Magdalene Njie.